masculine, right? Masculinity is still in or no?
For men?
Yeah.
He better be masculine.
Okay, just making
He
sure.
my man.
Just making sure. Just making sure.
I mean, for me, I understand the men that's not so masculine too. I understand men that's not so entirely masculine. That doesn't
Make them less of a man.
Yeah, that doesn't make them less of a man. They just not as manly as I would like them.
I just feel like the agenda now is to decrease masculinity in society.
Ooh,
that's
what I didn't think about that.
That's the way I feel.
And what about women? Is
women is like coming up.
How?
Hello. Welcome to the Millennial Minded Podcast with Marquise
and Gia.
And episode 17. We're glad to be back. Please follow us on Instagram at millennial.minded. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Millennial Minded Podcast with Marquise and Gia. And we got some great topics to discuss with you today.
Yes.
We do. So, anything trending? Cicely Tyson passed away. She was 96, I believe. 96. And it was just cool to see how, like, the generations that she lived through. Yeah.
She lived through all of the generations that we can remember. And she was like our grandmother in theater and Hollywood. So rest in peace. And they said she just natural causes. That's how I want to go.
Me too.
Lord, let me just sleep on over to the other side.
Yeah.
I want to live that good of a life. That no pain, no coronavirus, no trouble breathing, no health ailments. Just sleep away in peace. So
you know what? Someone close to me just passed from complications of coronavirus.
Oh,
my old job. Rest in peace to Keith and his family. I think he left behind 2-3 kids and a wife. That hit home to all of us. That was really close. So rest in peace. Prayers to that family.
Yes.
Coronavirus is no joke. It is no joke. Please protect yourselves. A lot of people don't think it's important to wear a mask. Not Keith, but you think that you're healthy, which you probably are, and you can beat it if you felt some symptoms or whatever the case. Mm-hmm. And that may be true, but you don't know about the next person. You don't know what they're going through, what ailments they have.
Yes.
So it's important to wear a mask for not just you, but someone else. Protect everyone's lives. So please wear your mask. It makes a difference. This coronavirus. What else? Anything else trending?
No, not this week. I mean, it was a lot going on with like the GameStop and like the investments or something.
Yeah, but
like they block people from investing so that the millionaires that already invested could recoup something. So people, I mean, I'm not an investor, but I did see somebody that was just like, yeah, I had about $80 and I invested it into GameStop, and then like 2 weeks later it turned into $5,000, and I was just like, oh, wait, what's going on with him? And he was just like a college kid. And his daughter, I'm like, yeah, somebody just told me to put $80 into GameStop, and like 2 weeks later it was $5,000, and it's so casual. So maybe we need to get into investing. But now since that happened, it seemed like a couple of things like came open for people to start investing and putting some money in, and it looked like Wall Street was like, nope. And like certain apps were blocking people from investing. So there was some bite back because of that.
I gotta read up on that. I believe they were owned by some hedge fund and they were losing money, like you said, and they wanted those millionaires to recoup it.
Yeah.
I heard something like along those lines. Let's get into some comments.
Okay.
Comments.
So last week, episode 16, we talked about a couple of things, but one of the main questions that we asked was,
Mm,
what do you do when your personal desires conflict with the word of God or maybe
yeah.
with God's will? And
Right.
we asked that question because, just to give a little backstory, I overheard a woman saying how much she always wanted to be a mother and how she wanted to carry a baby. And because she never had the chance to get married, it was out of her plan because she was a servant of Christ and she was a servant of the Lord and she believed in his word. She just automatically X'd out ever becoming a mother because she
Yeah.
did not have a husband. And it made me think that this one desire that this woman has conflicts with the word of God. What do we do in those situations? And how do we justify that to this woman that served all her life and she was getting up to her 40s and she was still like holding out hope that I
Oh
would have a
man.
baby and not, I'll get married someday. And it was just, she even canceled like, okay, if I can't even have the husband, I want to feel the effects of being pregnant and carrying. It was just like, nope, that's not God's will for you. He didn't send you a husband. So your job is to work and serve in church and serve the Lord with all your might and strength and be grateful that you still have a life. And, it basically was just like your service is now unto God alone. And you forget about anything else that you personally want. And then on the other hand, it was just like, well, it wasn't in God's will for you. Just trust and believe. So
Hmm.
we was
Hmm.
conflicted
We
about
we
that.
were, and some people commented. I think my mom commented, artificial insemination is not a it's not a sin.
No, it's not.
Okay, so that maybe that was one avenue that she could have, or I don't know if she still can pursue
Hmm.
to feel
But I
the
don't want
effects.
people to get misinterpret the desire to have sex with her desire, because it was just like
She just
it.
wanted to carry
She
a
just
baby,
wanted to
right?
carry, and she wanted to do it naturally, like every other woman do it naturally.
Yeah. Well, all right. So let's see. So comments.
What we got?
Janella says God's permissive will is not the same as His perfect will for our lives. When we fulfill our desires outside of His perfect will, there will surely be consequences, and we can miss out on the blessings He has for us. What do you take for that?
Oh, X that off. I don't. Do you think like is? But what are the consequences in
Um,
this case?
in this case,
Bringing
I don't
forth
see.
a life and like
So I don't think she was talking about that
because
case
it's
about the mom.
okay.
One to be a mother, but I think in other cases,
Sin? Is she talking about sin?
yeah, yeah,
I'm with you hundred
yeah.
percent.
That's what I
There's
felt.
always a consequence to sin, but it's would it be worth it for me to get my baby? My baby gonna be just as much as a blessing as the married people kids.
Um,
Argue that because people use that as an example. Like there's some things that people will say if you have, because my child is out of wedlock and he's grown, but if you do, they may say, if something happens with, a relationship, or if something happens to the child, it was just like spiritual or religious people will say, well, he was created out of sin, or she was created out of
I
sin,
thought
or
the Bible
this
said we all were.
that we all were. I mean, those are really, really radical people that believe like certain things are done to us because of our deeds. Like, I get what you're saying with that, Janella. Then we got to go back to what the word says. Like, there's no condemnation, and then there's also like he don't reward us based on our deeds as well. Or
Well, when you say no condemnation, it's like according to the if you walk not in the flesh. So I agree. If you're not walking in the flesh and you're fulfilling the work and duty of the spirit, there's no condemnation for you or I. But when we walking in that flesh, according to that scripture, there will be some condemnation for us. There will be. 'Cause
but
that's
who's to say what it is, right? How do
yeah.
we know what it is? Because we don't know the heart and minds of God, the heart and mind of God. We do know that if we do certain things in sin and we maybe wait not sin, what the difference it feels spiritually. but you can't really justify it because
I know, or what I felt was condemnation a lot of the time from my sins.
oh, you felt guilt.
Right. I
That was
felt,
your own personal guilt.
but I feel like but I was walking in the flesh. I feel like I should have been condemned because I was fulfilling the lusts of the flesh and walking in the flesh. That there was condemnation for me. Thank God there was Christ and the Holy Spirit, forgiveness. Okay, you don't have to stay in that place. But that scripture specifically says, like, walk it not in the flesh. No condemnation. If you walk it in the flesh, there should be some condemnation for you. Something should trigger you. All right, this is not right. Let me get this right with the Lord.
I feel like that's impossible. We're always in the like. How do you do that?
There's walking in the spirit and there's walking in the flesh.
I've been in both.
Yeah, so it's possible.
I've had.
It's possible.
I had consequences for being in both. Everything that I walked in the spirit, I didn't get like the fruits of the spirit. I didn't
get condemned for walking in the spirit.
I probably wasn't condemned, but I surely wasn't rewarded for being so spiritually Christ-like all the time as well. I didn't receive an outwards reward. Let me say that. My reward is in heaven. I know I'm looking for a spiritual reward. Let's clear that up.
That's a good point right there.
But I'm in this life. I would like to see something tangible. Like, okay, yeah, I'll give this to you, or you deserve this, or here you go, just for that sacrifice that you made that I knew that it was hard for you to do, but you kept doing it. So that sometimes that was my prayer, but I kind of get stuck when it's like, is this the perfect will of God, or is just this
permissive will,
or his permissive will?
I had debates with my mother about perfect and permissive will, but that's another topic.
Okay, so I mean, like, just give a Reader's Digest.
Where does it say that?
Perfect
will be, I guess, would be my thing, like scripturally. Where does it say anything about a perfect and a permissive will? And that would be our debate right there.
Okay,
and she would give examples of things that happen in the Bible that she can say was permissive will, but I always say, well, where does it say perfect or permissive will?
Okay, and so you about to be real. Here we go.
Rugged, as you guys say. But that's
you about to.
That's why I said that here, but you okay. Anyway, Sean says, got to be careful of taking things into our own hands. There's a reason why God allows us to go with or without certain things, because he knows what's best for us. What happened to trusting God through it all? I understand human desire, but the product of your own ambition will be the enemy of God's will for your life.
Wow. Y'all are really, I
don't know if they're talking about the mom, though.
I asked a specific question. We didn't say mom. Right. So we're talking. So I see where people are going with this. So so
we should have put
because y'all giving the answers based on stuff that we already know about sin. But like, so if you wanted to have a baby, or if you wanted to become a mother, and it's just like, just trust God, or it's not in your will, or it may never happen. Yeah, I'm talking about specific things that people are battling with. Like, we all battle with like sin and wanting to do our own things. Right. We know that. We got that covered. But it's just like, I want this for me, or I want to do. How can I simplify it? I don't know how to simplify.
I think we should have been super specific about, all right, in this instance, the lady wants to be a mom. That's her desire. And how do you, now that conflicts with, with God's word.
Okay.
Then we would have got, I think we got a different answer. Because other than, going out and having sex and whatever like that, if she would have did adoption, well, she wants to feel the carrying the baby.
Carry the baby.
So other than artificial insemination, I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. Just you don't know what you're getting, right?
Yeah. I mean, they give a background based on a 10-question survey or something like that, but
I can lie all about that. So, okay. Let me see. Mom says, very good to see the podcast on. Missed you both. As far as the questions posed, it is very thought provoking, and my heart goes out to my sisters dealing with these tough issues.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible declares our lives have been bought with a price that Jesus paid on the bloody cross. So we cannot live unto ourselves, and there are times when we must give up our will for God and please Him. Adoption and artificial insemination would be options for me if that was my desire, and that's not sin.
Okay.
I can agree with that.
I can agree with that as well. I agree with Sean and Janella too, but I see where they're talking about what a broader aspect of like sin and living outside of God's will.
She also said we should have did more justice for Larry King and Hank Aaron.
Who said that?
My mom. I believe the people that participate in the Capitol riots are domestic terrorists. They make threats to give people, and they need to be treated as such.
Ooh.
And receive the full hand of the law. Mr. Trump should have been at that inauguration. He's a sore loser. And finally, I love Rachel's comments, and I agree with everything she said. I have always tried to show and teach my sisters that it takes nothing away from us when we celebrate each other.
Who is that?
It's Delphine.
Oh, okay. All right. But did you see, like, this week, is the word extremist is being used. It's being, because now we remember we're talking about a political party. Like when you go to terrorism, you kind of go with like religion-ish, and we're talking about political parties. So they calling them extremists.
But he is a coward, Trump, because
he should have been at
he should have been at not only the inauguration. If you're going to incite something like that, go out there and be out there with them. Don't be hiding or wherever you at. I don't know where he was.
He was down in the bunker.
No, go out
dancing
there.
To the Beatles.
Go out there and lead them. If you're a gang and you're fighting a rival gang, y'all, the leaders fighting each other.
Leader. You OG Bobby Johnson.
There you go. Go out there. Don't let these people go out there and fight and
come on,
people
OG.
lose their lives and you in the bunker,
so
whatever.
All y'all Trump supporters, y'all OG ain't about that.
No, he don't care about you. He doesn't care about you at all. Just himself. Mama Max said, what do you think about artificial insemination as a choice? Do you think God would mind that? One time I had a question about something, but was told things are left out of the Bible for a reason. I think it would be fine to do that. We both agree with that. Artificial insemination, yeah. Mm-hmm. And anyway, look at all the males in the church who still, not all males, have mistresses on the side. Some things never change about blaming the woman. I would have told her to go ahead and do what is best between herself and God. That's how things should be between the person and God.
Okay. I can agree with that too.
Sean said, we want to know what happened. Who said what? Who did what?
Sean, you want to know?
No.
I'll let you know, Sean.
I told him no. We don't need to hear all that.
Marquis said no. I'll let you know.
Today said finally I was missing my Tuesday fix. It gets me through the work day. Happy you guys worked it out in our back.
Thank you, Nay.
Jerry was texting me the same thing. Like, where's my Tuesday podcast, man? I need it while I'm working on the treadmill.
Oh.
Yeah, so we're glad to be back. That was it for the comments. Thank you so much for commenting. I think all of you are already subscribed, so thank you so much. Please share with everyone as we try to grow our channel and continue to put out content.
So we gotta get into permissive will and perfect will.
We can,
because Janella, you brought up a good point. Sean said it's like catastrophic. You must got a personal experience. Like, don't do it if it's out of God's will. And I don't think we negate the fact of trusting the Lord, but it's just like, yeah, I trust you. Is it bad for me to want this as well? So
definitely not bad if you go outside the will of God to do it. Yeah, consequences potentially.
Can we interchange will and word?
What do you mean?
Because what does the word say about it? That's because you can give me what the will. We can all put our perspective on the will. What does the word say about it?
What does the word say about
What?
it?
What? Because what happened to the
It
women?
would be sin if you went out.
It would be sin,
Yeah,
but look at what happened to barren women in the Bible.
they
They were
prayed, or the angel visited them, and they really or cried out to the Lord
cried
for
out to
this,
the Lord
and God opened their wombs. He's the only
for
one that could do that.
for those specific women. But
Yeah,
there were other women that, if we go, because we believe that the Bible is real during those times. If you go back to history, they were outcast, ostracized, they were ridiculed. Yeah, some of them even was believed to have some type of demon or something demonic
if you
wrong
couldn't
with
give
them
birth.
if you could not
Yeah,
have
yeah.
children or bear a child. So
It was looked at as a bad thing if you couldn't, bear children. All right, we'll get into that
but
permissive.
it didn't really say what happened to men that couldn't produce.
Why is that?
I don't know.
All right, we discharge seed. We can. I guess there's. I guess about. I guess men could not. Right? There's some men that can't.
Yes, there's a whole bunch of men that can't.
Why doesn't the Bible talk about that? I don't know.
Well, we hear about the barren woman that had to pray and get the maid or get
I see where you're going. So culturally and all that, women were
we have been a suppressed woman. So we coming up to it's 2021. What now do I say to women that have this is the only examples that we have? Not that they're coming to me like I'm somebody counselor, but when we open up the conversation, I got to keep in mind what our scripture says, what modern times is, and like, girl, it's 2021. You want to have a baby, have a baby.
That's between you and God. That's what you're saying.
Between you and God. Let me help plan the baby shower.
Do you think that's something that you should really say to someone, though?
I feel like I have a right to. If they ask me, I'm gonna say what I can say. I'm not.
You wouldn't push for the artificial insemination.
No,
you would say,
I'm
go
not
ahead.
doing that. I'm not doing that because I remember I used to be so radical. I met a woman that was in like she was in an abusive relationship, and she came to the church and we got to be really close. And me and the other women were like, take your daughter and leave and get out now. And she was just like, I don't have anything. Like I don't. Like he has everything. Like I have nowhere to go. This is my first time in New Jersey. No family.
Man.
We had nowhere to put her. No. All we could offer her was to leave, and it was just like there was no backup plan. Like so, when I give out certain advice, I gotta be cognitive of. I said that wrong.
Cognizant.
Thank you. Cognizant of. How can we practically help somebody? Will she have somewhere to go with her children? It's just like I can't just throw out things and just to people, especially if they come into us. And I think I did so much of that. Trust the Lord, seek his face, pray, ask him. He'll reveal it. He'll talk to you. And then when it never happened to people, it was just like I felt like useless. Like she wound up having to go back to where she had nowhere to lay her head at. I ain't have a couch to offer her. So it's just like, okay,
she couldn't go back to family?
She came from an abusive
family
background.
Oh man. To an abusive relationship?
To an abusive relationship. And it was just...
Is that a thing because of that background? I don't want to analyze her, but because of that background that she went through, you think that's part of what happened when she got into a relationship?
Yeah.
Okay. It's like a pattern.
It is a pattern. Like a gateway. See, like we used to like
yeah, I got you.
Sons marry their mothers.
Yeah.
Daughters marry their fathers. Like stuff that we try to get away from, and usually the line of abuse don't stop until you are aware of it and can stop it. So it was just like that. But I'm young, just telling her what the scripture says, and it wasn't no backup to it.
Yeah, that's tough. But you pivoted somewhere perfectly.
Where
we're talking about women. You and I were having a conversation via text. Women equality. You mentioned how the Bible, women or women, just not even the Bible, just women in history have always been suppressed,
Absolutely.
oppressed, or whatever. And so we were talking about.
Suppress, oppress, depress, underpress. We tired of y'all.
Okay, we're pressing on y'all. You tired of us pressing on you?
Yes.
So we were talking about so many things we can go into, but women equality in salaries, and we were talking about. You and I were talking about sports.
Yes.
You feel like WNBA player should be making the same amount of money as the NBA players.
Absolutely.
Okay. And because they're doing the same thing. They're playing the same sport.
They require the same skill. You got to be able to shoot, dribble, run,
pass, all that.
Yeah, they're not doing brain surgery. It's the same skill. It's the same amount of effort put into both, but the margin is so
dramatically different.
Yes.
So I can agree with you. Let's say in the common workplace where you and I are both doing the same job at whatever company.
Okay.
And I shouldn't be making more money than you.
Mm-hmm.
I can agree with you on that.
Okay.
When it comes to the NBA and WNBA players, I can't agree for the simple reason. Yes, they're doing the same job. They're playing the same sport, etc. Athleticism, all that's the same. But the money is not the same because the NBA makes far more money. So the WNBA is like a couple of million, let's say 25 million.
Okay.
And they have less broadcasting rights, whereas the NBA has been global.
Mm-hmm.
Overseas in China, they make billions of dollars for their company, for their brand. So you can't get paid as much because you don't make as much. And the NBA has more broadcasting rights as well. Mm-hmm. All the TV stations, they got deals with the NBA. Not as much with WNBA. So that's the only reason why, in my opinion,
they shouldn't make the same amount of money.
Right, they're not making the same amount of money. NBA players have been trying to help. They've been doing commercials with WNBA players. They've been promoting it. They are trying to do that.
Okay.
But the reality is they make $25 million for the WNBA, and the NBA is worth $7 billion.
Okay.
So that's why they don't make as much money.
All right.
Salary wise.
What about like the man? Is it just like nobody watches? Not nobody watches the WNBA, but it's not as popular.
It's not as popular. They don't play as much games as the NBA players do. Their season is shorter. Playoffs are shorter. There's less broadcasting rights. It's not.
But why is that?
The NBA has been around longer, for one, and they're global. They're trying to get the WNBA global. Mm-hmm. China is the biggest market. I guess USA is, but China is the huge market for the NBA. Mm-hmm. And, there's a lot more people in China.
Yes.
So it's just worth $7 billion. It's been like that they've been building it up before the WNBA was even founded.
Okay.
So that's
why.
If they made as much, they should be getting the same salaries. I would just say that.
And they would be totally opposed to integrating.
What do you mean? Like NBA and WNBA coming to one? Well, they're trying to. They're pushing.
Like NBA players good basketball player is a good basketball player.
Wait. You don't think that the WNBA player can play on the NBA? Do you?
Of course they can.
No, G.
They dribble in the ball and they shoot and they
No, G. Let me do. X that out.
X that out.
You cannot do at the same level. Okay, I saw this before. Serena Williams said, she's top 1, 2 in the world, whatever the case, for women's tennis. Mm-hmm. She said she wouldn't be top 200 when it came to men's tennis.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like it's genetically, it's just like it's night
impossible.
And day. Yeah, you shouldn't integrate with that.
Okay. So we again have to take the back seat in everything now. It's even in sports. We got to take.
Are you taking the back seat though?
Yeah.
How?
Everything is significantly more for men than it is for women.
Because you don't make as much money.
We don't make as much money, but again, you agreed that there's no difference in.
The demand is much. Oh well, for the gender, it's
Yeah.
much. The demand is, I think, a little harder on the NBA player because they're playing longer. They're playing longer seasons, longer playoffs. WNBA is shortened.
Okay.
It's not as much demand on. I guess it's a lot of demand for the female
Okay.
for their season, what they're going through. But it's at a different level for the men.
All right. Well, I'll take it. If
We're not pushing you back or anything like that.
not in NBA, but there's
the
other
workforce.
sports that I guess. What other sports is there for women that we excel in that women
The
do?
women's soccer team for the USA is amazing. They
They are?
win World Cups and stuff like that.
Okay.
Then us men don't.
Do they make as much money?
I don't think they make as much money.
See?
I don't think they make as much money. And I think they make more than WNBA players.
Oh.
Because they're on
okay.
the women's soccer team is at a high level.
Oh, okay.
And they have more broadcasting rights.
So it's all about marketing
Generating
and money.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
where it comes down to.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in the workforce, that should not be. I mean, company wise, you and me,
Yes.
we doing the same job. I should not be making more money than you.
Yes. We agree on that.
Okay.
So
we're
we'll
not suppressing women.
So okay, we'll take the L on sports and let the men take the lead.
Yeah. Now, however, the whole thing has been coming up is transgender, and as far as sports is concerned, I don't know, it's been popping up. I know Biden put a person transgender in office, but I've been seeing this on my news feed, catching fire. There was like there was a male handball competition.
Mm-hmm.
And person was a male, transgender to a woman, and is dominating the handball competition because genetically it's just night and day.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that? Do you think that's fair to the women that are women that's playing whatever sport? Like, can you imagine LeBron James retiring from the NBA and saying, "I feel like a girl. I want to become a girl," then go to WNBA and he would dominate everything.
I don't think that would be fair. But again, because we into this whole equality, if he legally changed his gender to a female, because there's only two genders, he legally changed his gender to a female, he has the right to participate in everything.
So how far is too far with this?
Wow.
How far is it? Is not? You're saying it's not fair.
It's not fair to dominate and
But can you tell he feels like a girl today?
I saw a high school wrestler.
Okay.
He was a boy and he identifies as a girl, but he don't want to wrestle with the boys. He want to wrestle on a girls' team. Right. So he's a boy that's identifying now. He's not transgender. He just identifies as a girl. Mm-hmm. They have to respect his right to identify as a girl and allow him to wrestle girls. And he is like, he got them in full figure fours all over the mat with pink hair. He a full out boy that's taking down these. I don't think that's fair. That's not that's not fair to us because as women we would not be able to do it. I mean, there's some women that of course there's some women that change their gender into men, but we're not able to change our gender and then be physically more capable than a man. Exactly. We can't do it. So why is it fair for them to do it? So we got another not ladies. I'm trying.
But that's the thing. People were pushing. No, you can't tell them. No, they identify as it. I don't know if it's feminist, but they're pushing. No, she feels like a woman. She has to let them go to the women's bathroom. Mm-hmm. Let them wrestle with the girls. And it's like, all right, I understand you have a right to feel I feel like a dolphin today. You can't do anything to me. Okay, I feel like that. I understand that. We're not hating. We're not discriminating. We're not talking bad or belittling anyone that feels the way that they feel. How far is too far, though? You're gonna let someone that's physically more capable go because they feel like this a girl go and dominate this sport or wrestle these girls and just
Wrestle
win
these
them?
girls. Wrestle. Find a sport for them.
So maybe there should be a
Yeah.
transgender.
Yeah. Put them into a category. It may not be much, but don't do that to the girls that's actually working hard with what God naturally gave them. Their own. We have estrogen, y'all have testosterone. So
Right.
and then they have to now compete with this, boy, bless his heart, that his intentions is just, I just want to play and I want to identify, but he has to understand that he has an unfair advantage
Right.
on his opponents. So
Right.
that's not fair to them as well. So I do believe that if we creating lanes for everything else, like just, create a lane for that.
So transgender sport, whatever.
Yeah.
That's your thing.
Yeah. Especially if you want to compete to make it an even playing field, compete with someone's that's just like you.
So, okay.
Men compete with men, women compete with women, transgender compete with transgenders.
So it could be also an unfair advantage if you do that because the girl identifies as a boy and the boy identifies as a girl. They're in that competition for transgender and they wrestle. He's still gonna win.
They're transgender. That's what you are now. You want to be a boy or you want to be a girl. I'm not opposed to however people want to live their lives, but make it fair. Don't make it, if I have a daughter coming up and you got a 8-year-old boy that got on a pink wig, say he identified, he ain't wrestling my 8-year-old daughter. I already,
should that male that identifies as a girl be allowed to go to the girls' bathroom?
I mean, well, it's not an open porta. It's not like an open porta potty. It's like, there is.
You would be okay with that if you had a daughter and I'm coming in there to use a bathroom and your daughter's in there.
I don't think I'll be okay with that. We were on a road trip one time and my son was like, if you ever get to Jersey, the end of Jersey, there's like you got to go to the Clara Barton station.
Yes.
And we had to go to the bathroom. And my son has no tact at 8 years old, 6 to 8. And a man walked out the men's bathroom with platform high heel shoes on and a mini dress and a bald head.
Wow.
Nehemiah looked at me and said, "Ma, why that man got on girl clothes?" And he using the boy because when he turned 8, I would stand right outside the men's bathroom and let him go. I didn't like him going to the women's bathroom no more. Okay. But I'm that woman that's like right at the men's bathroom, like letting him use the bathroom himself.
Okay.
So I was just like that, like why he had to see it, and of course he ate. He said it all loud.
No filter,
was you with us? We was going down south.
Probably.
Yeah, because we wouldn't have drove alone. Like I was like, God. But you got to be careful because when he was 2, now my son will be 20. When he was 2, I volunteered at his school.
Okay.
And they called me because he was acting up. So I had to come in for a couple of hours to calm him down. Let me not be cute. Mm-hmm. And they were playing. It was playtime. My son was playing with, the balls and, the sports stuff. But I had a little boy that was playing with the dolls. And I simply said to the little boy, you have to play with the toys that's for, go get a ball or go get a Spider-Man or something. You can't play with the doll babies. And the teacher was like, no. That's against our policy. We cannot tell boys that they cannot play with dolls and doll houses and put on aprons and put on their princess tiaras in school facilities, and we can't tell girls that they can't put on the Spider-Man costume. Like, you can't do that, Missy. And I was like, wait, what? They three. They're three. And I didn't understand that. She really was like, Miss, she called me by my last name, and she was like, I don't mean to disrespect you or anything, but as a parent and in this school, we cannot tell boys that they cannot play with girls' toys. And I was flabbergasted.
Listen, you are pivoting perfectly for this outline today. You just went to the part that's really the heart and meat of this. Theybies. Theybies. I heard this term for a while. Actually, not surprisingly, on I was looking at Fox News just to hear the radical right talk about, their radical right things that they talk about. But brought up a good point. You have these parents that feel like, kind of what you're saying right now, that you saw, that a child should there's no gender. They believe that the child choose their gender when they're about 4, 5, 6. Let them decide what gender that they want to be. You don't identify with them as a boy or a girl. You let them play with whatever. Let them do whatever. If she's a girl, don't let them play in pink and all that. Decorate the room pink. If it's a boy, no blue. Gender neutral. Don't call them a he or she. They're theybies. And let them decide at 4, 5, 6 what they want to be. So I'm watching that and I'm like, that's so not cool to me, to let a 4, 5, 6-year-old decide what gender they're going to be. How can they decide at that age?
They can't.
You know what I mean? And I think you did the right thing with that child. They said, no, play with Spider-Man, whatever. But that's the new agenda that they're pushing.
That's the new wave.
They're pushing. You can't do that. And I feel like America is really going, we're Christians, really straying away from teaching the Bible. I know we both believe there's only male and female.
Yes.
And, if you identify a different way, that's
not
okay. That's your thing.
But there's two genders.
Right.
You're born with a penis or a vagina. Whether you change it is up to you. But a 5 and a 6-year-old they don't have the intellect. They don't have the they don't have the mind to even decipher, this is a penis that I have. I want it to be like, why would we put that on children? Now, when I was in my son's school at that time, the teacher gave me a different perspective. She did say, well, what if the boys are from single parent homes and they only see mommy sweeping, they only see mommy carrying the baby, they only see mommy washing the dishes, so they are naturally inclined to reenact in school what they see at home. So if they only see mommies with the babies and they see mommy sweeping and they see mommy and they see their sisters with the tiaras, we have to allow them to continue. However, I know you say no, but this is like, you cannot literally go into a school now and take a toy away from a boy. Like, this is law. But like you said, we are going away from what our Christian standards and our Christian beliefs are to cater to kids that don't even really know until we teach them. We have to educate them. Yeah. Now, let's think about it realistically, about the children that have to go through some serious things before they get 5 and 6. So they need to understand, because I'm going to school for special education. And one of the biggest things with children with special education is being able to identify their body parts. So there was a big case years ago where a little girl she was touched and she could not identify. They put her on a stand and she could not identify her body parts when they were questioning her. She was only told that it's my private. It's my private. Oh. It's my private. By the time your children, and this is coming from me, you can fact check this because I'm serious about this. By the time they are old enough to talk, Your son or your daughter needs to be able to say, I have a penis, I have a vagina. They need to know the words penis and vagina as soon as possible, so that they're not confused as to, did somebody touch your penis? Did somebody touch my vagina? And what happened with this case is this little girl was, she was assaulted. And because she could not properly identify her body part as being a vagina,
the person got off.
He got off. She was special needs. She couldn't really talk. And all they taught her is my private, my pocketbook, my this. All of these code names, because we kind of want to keep the innocence of our children. And I'm not against that. I get that.
Yeah.
But because children are so always victimized in some way, which is horrible, we have to start off the conversation with saying, I'm a boy, I'm a girl, I have a penis, I have a vagina. You got, and because by the time my son was old enough, he was like, what's those? He want to know.
My man,
boys want to know, because Marquise actually taught my son how to use the bathroom, right? Because I was a single parent at that time, and so I didn't want him sitting on the toilet seat.
Okay.
So he would sit on the toilet seat to use the bathroom. He gonna kill me if he see this. But he was a baby. He was two. Right. And so I was telling Marquise, like, when you get home, teach him how to, don't, not to slam it in between the seat, but teach him how to, because I could only show him. The only way I was able to teach him is I was able to light a match and be like, go ahead, take out the fire. Just pee anywhere, but don't sit on the toilet like a girl. Honey, when he see a fire, he pulling his penis out the pit. But I had to come up with creative ways because my son was a slow talker, and I didn't know nobody could really understand him at that age. So he had to be able to identify. I said, did Marquise teach you how to? He said, yeah, Marquise. When I grow up, I'm gonna have a big one, just like my. He said, I tell you no lie. He said, Zaki got a. And Marquise and Zaki was teaching him how to use the bathroom. Listen.
Oh, shoot.
Theybies, I ain't with it. No.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, I'm not with Theybies at all. It's a boy or a girl. And confession, not confession, but true statement. I just became a dad on November 23rd of 2020. Had a Rona baby, as they say. So I just became a dad. It has been a joy.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And she's the godmother. She is the godmother of the child, Micah. His name is Micah.
Oh, no. You telling his name, too?
Okay, I went too far. But I would be devastated if, what's the word? I'm teaching, there's no, you're not walking in heels, you're not playing with dolls.
It's gonna happen, Marky.
What?
You gotta sister.
What? Oh, okay, it does. However, I would be there to... No, you don't take them heels off. What are you doing? No, we're not doing that. You say...
I know, because then you feel so, I don't know, as a parent, how do you do that? I never had to deal with that. Thank God.
He played with
it was only him and I. He ain't seen no doll babies. And he ain't want nothing pink. If when the pink started trending for men, I would get him a pink polo shirt, and I had to really convince him no, Nehemiah, Soldier Boy or somebody that he got on a pink, he would have to see another boy or a man with the same shirt on before he'll put it on.
My man.
Now now he into all types of colors, and that's but I was really, maybe because I was a single mother, and it's just the stigma of a woman can't raise a man, and you can't really, you don't want him to have
female. You agree with that, or you disagree with that?
I believe that 100%. There's some things that I could not get through to him as a woman. No, But that's my own personal opinion.
Yeah.
There's some things that that's why I had to tell him to go to his cousin's house to teach him how to pee standing up. Boys pee standing up.
Yes. Yes.
And I have no issue saying that. And the same thing with girls. It's just like, sometimes it's okay for girls, for people, they see their girls as tomboys and don't really like, but it's just like, it's all for what they see. Like, I don't think a 5-year-old naturally likes princess and doll babies. And I've been around quite a few kids that don't. It's those parents that have this gender neutral perspective.
Yeah.
That it's just like, it's a really popular actress, Charlize Theron.
Okay, she's
Her
pretty good.
son, the progression of when she adopted this baby from Africa. Okay. This boy was in dresses and hair bows by the time he was 3 because of that. And if you see him now, you wouldn't even think that he's a boy. Like, he's totally, like, he got barrettes and dresses and stockings and makeup, and he's like 10 or 11 now. And it's just like, well, he decided when he was 3 that he liked dresses.
You don't decide that. I don't think you decide that. You don't.
Now, I've heard of gay people saying, like, I knew when I was like 5 that I was different or something like that. I've heard those stories.
Mm-hmm. I guess I can't disagree with how they felt. I know I never, at 5 or 6, felt I was just playing video games, doing boy stuff, going out to play.
Yeah.
Like, there's no, I don't know. I don't understand. But I don't know.
So we're against Theybies. I'm sorry. Yeah. I know this is a millennial minded perspective, but like, come on. At this point, we're parents. At this point, we're parents, and you have a son, I have a son, and we already know what, you know. I think there's a time where they will make up their own minds about that. I just don't think it should be enforced. It shouldn't be enforced in school. It shouldn't be enforced in homes. I understand everybody want a safe haven, and you want your kids to be as healthy and as happy as possible. Don't start putting those things in their minds, because those are the ones that battle that for so long. When they become adults, they still don't know how to deal with it. And if an adult can't even deal with the fact that they are different or coming out as male or female, what do you think that it's going to happen to a 5 or a 6-year-old when they're going back to school? Because they're going back to school, and now they're going to be outcast and because you allowing them to do that. Nah, don't do that to your kids.
I think it's those feminists that's pushing this stuff, though.
It's not feminists.
Okay.
Feminists only push for equality.
And no men.
No, it's just because you're a feminist does not mean that you're anti-men. No.
Okay.
I'm a modern day feminist in some point.
You still want a man. Okay, it's okay.
Of course I still want a man. I don't want no woman.
It's okay to be masculine, right? Masculinity is still in, or no?
For men?
Yeah.
He better be masculine.
Okay, just making sure.
My man.
Just making sure.
I mean, for me, I understand the men that's not so masculine too. I understand men that's not so entirely masculine. That doesn't
make them less of a man.
Yeah, that doesn't make them less of a man. They just not as manly as I would like them.
I just feel like the agenda now is to decrease masculinity in society.
Ooh,
that's what
I didn't think about that.
That's the way I feel.
And what about women? Is
women is like coming up.
How masculine am I as a woman? Go ahead, because my coffee's still hot. You thought we fought last month? My coffee's still hot.
Listen, I gave you a nice compliment on your outfit, and you tried to.
I went on a date last night, and let me tell you what I did, which I shouldn't have did. Because Marquise always have an issue about what's modest and what's fit, what's sexy, what's this. So I sent him a picture of my.
I asked, Yo, tell me how it goes because I care about you. Tell me how it goes, etc., etc. Just
Me
put that out
knowing
there.
that Marquise cares about me, I send him a picture
Mm-hmm.
and I say, modest or sexy.
Okay.
Send him a couple of pictures. He sent me another epistle about, is this the first date? Because if this is the first date, you want to try to take down anything that's a little bit too sexy. Because it's, and I said, listen, I said, is it modest or sexy?
Let me pull up the receipt.
Yes or no? I didn't need all the extra. You ain't my father.
You see? Okay. Wait, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I said, hey, let me know how your date goes. And will there be another? Enjoy. She said, okay, thanks. Modest or sexy? I asked, is this the first date? She said, yes. I didn't want to overdo it. So I simply said in humble humility.
Go ahead.
With sincerity, I said, okay, the outfit is cute. And yes, don't get too sexy on the first date. A little sexy, but don't overdo it. I think your outfit is perfect. What did she say?
I didn't read that last part. Again, go ahead.
You ain't my darn father.
You should have said yes or no.
Just yes or no. And I'm like, Lord. Okay, yes, it's perfect. Again, I said the same thing. So I'm like, so do I think you gotta tone it, shape it, EQ it a little bit?
You think I would be too masculine for a man?
Yes. Yes. I think you gotta just tone it, just tighten a little bit, just a little bit.
What would make me masculine because I'm boisterous?
Right. You don't want to change that. I always said don't change that. Just shape it a little bit. Just tighten it.
Put your leg over. No, I ain't gonna hit you.
See, I'm scared.
No, I wanted to listen.
Oh, just tighten it a little bit, tone it a little bit. Know when to be boisterous, because I always said I want a woman to be able to give it to you
and
in
when
defense.
to pull it back.
When to pull it back, and then when to be sweet and cuddly, and when to be no.
I let my date hug me last night.
Congratulations! You didn't let me hug you. But congratulations. That's a big step. That's a huge.
I didn't think I would. Wow. But he was already too close.
Did you let him kiss you on the cheek?
No.
Okay, first date, yeah. I agree. Well, a kiss on the cheek's not bad. But nothing else. Okay. And
I ain't no 2-year-old. You ain't kissing me on no cheek. Like that's like kissing somebody on the forehead.
Most women would love that.
I got a long way to go, guys.
Okay. We're all a work in progress. We all are. But I'll just say tone it, shape it a little bit. That's all. Take a little edge off.
There's not a masculine bone in my body. I'm all feminine. I'm all woman.
I said your outfit is perfect.
I said you ain't my darn daddy. Next time, say yes or no.
It's like, bro, I'm saying it's perfect.
But you started off with, you don't want to be too sexy on a first date. And I'm looking like, I didn't ask him for that. I just said yes or no, modest or sexy. And I said yes. In between both.
I said yes, but you don't want to be too over sexy. You did it perfectly. I gave you the answer. You did it perfectly.
Here go
you
Gia again.
Exactly. You didn't read yes is perfect. You didn't read that.
All I heard was not on the first date, no sex.
And it moved.
So, Sean, that's why we fought last month. I didn't read the text in entirety. And it was just like,
boom, 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 boom.
What you
boom.
say? He was like, I ain't say none of that. Go back and read the text, Jay. I was like, ooh.
I had that conversation with my mom all the time about perception is like, 90%, or fact is reality. I forgot what it was, the thing you say. But it's usually 90% perception and 10% actually fact.
Oh.
So how you perceive stuff, or what you saw, is what you went with. But when you went back and looked, oh yeah. So You got to read the whole message.
Yes.
It's okay.
Here you go. Here you go.
But I think today was a great conversation.
Yeah. We're going to get kicked back from this, but it's okay. Millennial Minded Podcast with Marquise and Gia. If you disagree with anything that we said or any of our perspectives, go ahead and you can leave your comment respectively.
Of course.
Because you will get read.
Yes, you will.
Okay? Because this is just our perspective. Because people talk about it all the time. And I think people are so... trying to be so inclusive that they forget into like we're not actually helping our children by trying to be so. Some things we need to clean and cut. They need to understand who they are, what their body parts are, and even what their expectations are. You know, because you'll have boys and you need to talk like a boy. You need to because you need to, and girls you need to act like a lady. It's just certain things that as parents we should be teaching our children, and because we are parents, we have a right to this conversation.
Yes.
And I got 4 goddaughters.
Wow, you do. That says a lot of. See, that says a lot about you, though, spiritually, and like people look up to you spiritually for advice as a woman, as a lady. You got all the right stuff, all the right attributes, and you're a good person at heart. That's my opinion. You're a good mom, good everything, good sister.
I'm just all around a well-rounded person. Yeah. That's why when I say to give advice about certain things, I may say I get stuck because there's some things that's in the scripture that I'll be like, well, when you read it, what did you get from it? Because I'm going to be honest. I know what Jesus said, but I know what Gia going to do. I'm going to do what Jesus told me to do. What would Jesus do? What would Gia do?
WWJD. Yeah, interchangeable,
I definitely won't do what Marquise do.
Don't do what I do. Don't do what
Marquise
I do.
is one that he do it and then he cover himself in ashes. It's like if you was going to beat yourself up this bad about it, then you shouldn't have did it.
Yeah, you don't be thinking in the moment though, but then those consequences hit, or that feeling that I think it's that condemnation. That's when it hits you, right? Yeah, it does. So walk not in the flesh if you can. It's tough. It ain't easy. But thank you so much for tuning in to the Millennial Minded Podcast with Marquise and Gia. Follow us on Instagram at millennial.minded. You can email us at the Millennial Minded Podcast at Gmail. And please continue to subscribe and watch our content. And please comment.
So what would be the question this week? Do you agree? Theybies. What's your perspective on it?
Theybies is...
I don't want to hear nothing about sports. Don't do...
Not the women...
We already know. We already at a disadvantage. I don't want to hear it.
If LeBron went to the WNBA, he would break every record.
He would,
and it wouldn't be fair. But that's my thing. How far is too far? I know we want to be inclusive and neutral, but like it's going too far. Don't you think, or no?
Yeah, some things are going too far.
You women's pushing this stuff. You feminists.
We are. We are pushing it. Some of them are. Some of y'all, because y'all wait till I get my husband until y'all put some of these things out.
Masculinity is dying. Masculinity is dying. So for the real men, please stand up. It's okay to be a man, to not gossip, to take care of your responsibilities, to not be an infidel, to love as you should love, to be honorable, to be honest. It's okay to be a man.
I mean, if those are some of the characteristics of a man.
We want to, try and strive to be. I think so.
Strive to be.
Yeah. You disagree? You about to say
no,
something?
No. I just was,
I feel like there was some underlying there. Go ahead.
A man that don't take care of his house is worse than a what?
Infidel, right?
Worse than an infidel.
I don't take care of your home. You made him take care of them.
take care of your home. I think people put other things on men that it's just like, don't expect so much out of a man, but as long as he work, take care of his home, he take care of his kids.
What's too much?
Hmm.
All right, you work, you provide, you feed the family. You got to be there emotionally as well, not just using the like Africans do. Like I go and work and I don't do anything with the child. I don't take him to the doctor's appointment. That's her role. Did we talk about gender roles before?
We did. We skimmed over
Okay.
it. We can definitely revisit it. I just don't want the men to be like the end all or be all. Like he's the only one that can do these things. It has to be like, that's where the feminist in me come. Like,
I think it should be both. I think men should wear the apron and cook. I think the men should clean. I think the men should also change the battery and take out the garbage. And I don't see nothing wrong with that. The men should do the girl's hair, the daughter's hair.
Yeah.
I don't see nothing wrong with that. But okay, that's it. That's all we got.
That's all we got.
All right, Millennial Minded. See you next week, Lord willing.
Yes.
Millennial Minded.